All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. We are looking at left guards today in the upcoming 2024 draft. And now we're kind of moving down to the next tier. The first video were guys that I expect to go in the first round. This video is going to be the guys who I think are going to go in day number 2. So rounds 2 and 3. And like the earlier video, there are really only 2 guys that I think fit this criteria. I see 2 players who end up at left guard ultimately going in those 33 to 105 area. Maybe another one squeezes in, but I think these are the candidates that would be smart to bet on. So first guy is Cooper Beebe, or Cooper Beebe. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it, but Cooper, we'll just call him Cooper. Kansas State Wildcat, somebody that I kept a very close eye on this year. 23 years old, measured out pretty much as expected at the combine, 6'3", 322 pounds, and 31.5-inch arms. So that's how you know this guy is not going to be a tackle at the NFL level. 31.5-inch arms, that's Skoronski territory, I think. So Cooper is definitely going to project as a guard at the NFL level. I don't think any team in the league would actually try to put him at tackle with those arms. 9.25-inch hands. His combine was really good for an interior offensive lineman. His 40 time, 5.03, almost as good as Fatanu. His 10-yard split, 77th percentile, good. His broad jump was really good, 9 foot 1 inch, 86th percentile. 3-cone was awesome, which indicates that he'll be really good in space, 7.44. And his 20-yard shuttle was good too. 4.61 was 80th percentile. The only categories that he struggled in was the vert. He did not get up very high. 27.5 inches, 47th percentile, and he only cranked out 20 on the bench press, which is maybe a little bit concerning, but at the same time, we've seen him on the football field these last several years, so we know what he can do. Big board's a little all over the place. We have a few, like Tankathon, CBS, and Walter Football, that have him in the second. The Draft Network has him in the third. ESPN and PFF have him in like the fourth. I don't think there's any way he gets to the fourth. I don't think he gets to the third anymore either. I think that the mock draft database has it about right. 59th overall, so second round, late second round. Honestly, I kind of expect him to end up in the middle of the second. I always kind of felt like it was a little bit weird that the big boards weren't giving him respect during the season, and it seems like they're starting to slowly do it now. Over the last 2 years, he's been a really good player for Kansas State, playing tackle mostly. 2 sacks allowed over the last 2 years, 2 QB hits, and 14 hurries. So the numbers are good. But what does Cooper bring to the table? Tremendous strength in driving defenders off the ball. Very, very strong. He's somebody who can just put his head down, light into a guy, and push him out of the play. He's got good footwork to maintain square contact on pass rushers. He's not somebody who gets caught out of position trying to protect. He's somebody who is able to keep in front and square up when he makes contact. He's very smart in how he handles things like stunts and twists and creative blitzes. Capable of pole blocking. He showed that at Kansas State. He can play in space. His testing numbers indicated athletic ability, maybe even beyond what he showed at Kansas State. So you have to wonder what he'll be able to do when he gets to the NFL and maybe gets into a coaching staff that wants to bring that side out of him more. Lots of experience as a high-quality player in college. Some of these guys don't have that. He's got a low center of gravity. He's not going to get out-leveraged pretty much ever at 6'3", and he gets down nice and low. Defensive linemen are going to have a hard time getting under him. The issues with him would be he's not going to be able to offer much tackle depth because of his arm length. Like, you don't want to put him at tackle unless it's an emergency. Sometimes he does get a little off balance against speedier players, so the speed rushers get to him a little bit, which will occasionally come up even at left guard. His hand placement is still a little bit rough. He's going to have to improve his hand placement. He didn't showcase tremendous second-level and third-level mobility on the field. It seems like he can do it based on his testing numbers, but we didn't see it that much on the field. Now, that could have been a Kansas State thing, but to a certain extent, you are kind of guessing if he'll be able to handle doing zone blocking stuff down the field in the NFL. His latch isn't as strong as you'd like either. Sometimes he wins the rep and then he doesn't finish it by clamping on. Sometimes he just kind of lets the play get away from him after seemingly winning the rep. That would be one thing that I think he has to clean up. But overall, I think he's a really good prospect. There are a few more rough edges than I expected when I started looking at him. I thought he was going to be a little cleaner than this, but I do think he's a really good prospect. I think that he could also project to right guard if he doesn't make it at left guard and still probably be really good there because of how strong he is. And his testing numbers indicate that he'll be a good fit for his own blocking scheme down the line at the very least. He might take some time to learn it. It might be a little bit difficult at first. He might not be a perfect fit, but I do look at a guy like Cooper and I go, he should project to fitting in well in his own blocking scheme. So I'm a little uncomfortable with it because of the slightly imperfect scheme at the moment, but I'm not too worried about it. So I would take him in the early second. I think that the big boards are a little bit behind here. I like Cooper a lot. I think that he's a really good player, and I would be willing to take him in the early second if that's what it takes. All right, so the second guy that I think will be a top 100 pick sometime in day 2, Dominick Puni of Kansas, the other Kansas. So same state, different player, 23-year-old, 6'5", 313 pounds, 33 and 3/8 inch arms, so the arm length is okay, but you definitely prefer to slide him inside, I think. 10 and 1/8 inch hands. His testing numbers were not very good in terms of speed, but his explosiveness was really good, and his change of direction was really good. He had a really nice vertical and broad jump, an excellent 3-cone. 747 is crazy good for a 313-pounder, and a 4.4 20-yard shuttle. Like, that might be a misprint. That is insanely good for a guy this size. So, straight line speed, yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. He doesn't move too well in a straight line. But when it comes to actually, like, moving around a football field, shuffling around, actually moving the way you need to move on a football field as an offensive lineman, seems like he can do it. Do it really well. A few big boards had him in the top 100. Walter, ESPN, Tank. PFF had him right outside the top 100, still in the 3rd round. And CBS had him in like the 6th or 7th. So they're way behind on him. But the aggregate has him in the mid-3rd. I kind of expect him to land somewhere in the mid-3rd at this point. Over the last 2 years, he's allowed 0 sacks in pass protection, 1 QB hit, and 15 hurries. The numbers are clean. Now, I don't know if his overall play has been that sterling, but he's certainly been very productive at Kansas. Now, Kansas doesn't play the best of the best of the best all the time, so understand the level of competition he's going up against. This is still a very intriguing player. Even though he's not fast, even though he's kind of a bigger guy, you look at him and he looks a little bit bigger than 313 pounds. He moves very well in space. He proved many times at Kansas that he's capable of pulling around and hitting blocks down the field, blocking linebackers at the second level. He can do that stuff. He can play in space all day. He's got great technique in zone scheme. He really understands things like angles, really understands how to hit when he's playing in space. He's ready to go in that regard. He's very well versed in dealing with talented pass rushers, really understands how to take on a guy who has a lot of moves in his bag, really knows how to mirror guys who have a lot of interesting pass rush moves. Long arms for an interior lineman. I don't think it's long enough to be tackle worthy, but it's not far away. He's definitely one of the guys who gives maximum effort, was definitely praised at Kansas for being a guy who really, really goes all out at all times. And he's really good at launching off the snap, again, not against the run, but on the running plays. Really good at launching into his block at the snap. So, Dominick Puni, a lot of stuff to like. I think overall his run blocking technique does lag behind, though. I think his run blocking isn't great. That's definitely the area he needs to get clean things up. He plays a little bit tall, which means he loses the leverage battle, so defensive linemen can get under him and push him back. That's something he's going to have to work on at the NFL level. He's going to have to learn how to bend at the knees, not bend at the waist. He's not strong enough to bully defenders in the trenches. He doesn't maintain blocks the way you would like in the running game. He lets players slip off after winning the rep. Some body control issues, and also he's only really played football for the last 2 years. He didn't really have much playing experience before 2022. So he's probably a little bit raw and will take a little bit of time to get the nuances of run blocking. But he's a great fit for our scheme, the zone-based scheme. Great left guard fit. Great in space. I think that if a team wants an athletic interior lineman, this is the guy to call up. I do think that there is going to be development with his run blocking, and I don't think he's ever going to be a great run blocker, but I do think he will be a good run blocker at the NFL level eventually. And at the end of the day, you're getting him for his pass protection ability. That's why he's a left guard. So, third round sounds about right to me. I'd say third round is fair value for the nice scheme fit. I would like somebody with a little more upside, but in the third round, this is probably about as good as you're going to do. So Dominick Puni, yeah, I'm pretty much on board with the way the big boards are viewing him. Cooper, I'm a little bit higher than the big boards, and those are my day two guys. So let me know what you think about these two. Let me know how you feel about them. Let me know if you like them more or less than I do. I will see you guys later. More left guards coming soon. We're going to get to the day three guys now, but we're actually going to use the rest of today to prepare for next week, prepare for some of the free agency stuff. We're going to get to the day three left guards tomorrow. Hope to see you guys then. Go Hawks, and yeah, let me know what you think down below.